Welcome back. This will not be another episode of 666 Seconds of Murder. I got a little bit more to cover on this one, but I'm going to keep things brief and move through it quick and get you back to your day. But do me a favor, real quick, take a moment, hit that like button. Also, if you're not a subscriber, please do so. We're approaching 11,000 subscribers. That's awesome. And drop a comment below. Let people know what you think. And even if it's just throwing up some horns or saying, hey, Pete, or whatever, it helps the video get out there to more people. Now, it's important to remember that no one has been found guilty of anything yet. This video is not to pin any blame on anybody. I'm just throwing out some ideas, making some speculation, and that's it. Everything I say is alleged. Now, a heads up on my videos. I've seen some comments here recently, so I wanted to address it. I have new subscribers every day, and not everyone is an Idaho 4 quote-unquote expert. Some of you guys are. Some of you probably know more about the case than I do. I don't see a problem with bringing up things and topics that I've already covered a year ago or more to bring the new people in and let them know what's going on and to blow the dust off the concepts so that we're looking at them from a different light, in a different light. So I don't see anything wrong with that, but I've seen some people wonder why I'm bringing up something that, is from the early days. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Now, anyone following this case has heard about the notorious Fight Club. And I first heard about it when I watched some videos on the tunnels and that whole thing that some people believed were there. I mean, I've spoken about this many times. I spent 30 years where part of my job, not all of it, but part of it was a building inspector. And I have crawled and walked at least hundreds of miles of tunnels. And they're usually to provide water or steam or both from a central heating source to multiple buildings, like at a college or at a hospital or something like that. Now, the King Roadhouse, as we know, is off campus. So I don't believe there would have been tunnels under that part of Moscow. But I could be wrong, but I don't see why there would be tunnels there. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I know some people firmly believe that, and that's, of course, your opinion. But on the campus, totally possible. Now, what about the Fight Club? First, I thought people were insinuating that this was going to be like actually in the tunnels, but after watching a lot of that Linda Lane footage, I do believe that there was some kind of fight club going on. It's likely it took place maybe at various locations. It wasn't always in the same place. In the case of the Idaho 4, it could have been outside. If you listen to some of that Linda Lane stuff, and maybe it started outside and made its way into the house, or maybe it started in the house and Ethan and Xana ran and were chased down outside. I'm a firm believer that Ethan and Xana were attacked first at just after 2 a.m. Bethany claims that they were at the Sigma Chi party until 1:45. And I know some people have said, well, what about her eating pizza with Ethan and calling her dad at midnight? I don't know. I don't know, which is true, but in either case, the latest they would have been there would have been 1:45. So that would jive with them being there at 2 a.m. for this attack, or slightly after, because remember what Ethan's mom said, 2 a.m. is the darkest hour. So does she know something that maybe the rest of us don't know? It's certainly possible. So if you're still with me, I made some huge waves on YouTube about a year ago when I first brought up the idea that I believe that some of these students were actually watching the Fight Club on their phones, maybe even the crimes themselves. And whether they paid for it, is another story. I don't have any idea. Maybe they bet on the fights. I saw somebody in my comments the other day talking about this. It's a sick concept. It really is. Now, if you've seen the Grub Truck video, you may have noticed that circle of students that's kind of off camera a little bit, and one of them yells out round one just after 2 a.m., and these students are all hunched over. There's probably a dozen of them or so over a phone, yelling and cheering, and like they're watching like UFC or boxing or something. It's kind of weird. And at one point, they even bust into a chant saying Xana, Xana. And that's a very unique name. So could they have been cheering for Xana, or were they mocking her while she's being beaten, or worse? Her life ending. I mean, that is a very, very dreadful and disturbing thought, I'll say. But if you're still not satisfied, go and check out that police body cam video that was done at the Banfield. I've done videos about this too. There's a true crime deep cuts on it you might want to check out. I go through the whole thing and pick out parts of it. There's all sorts of weird things going on. Many of you have mentioned the guy with the craziest eyebrows you've ever seen suddenly appears talking to the police. His name is Saeed, and he told the police he was coming from Matt's party, a party at Matt's house. There's a good chance that was Matt Moy, who is the guy that lives behind the 1122 King Road house off Walenta Drive. I just did a couple videos about that guy, so go check it out. A lot of concerning things about him. Now, there are 3 students who the cops are messing with in that Banfield video for underage drinking, and there's lots of stuff about them too. I mean, one of them looks like he's holding a glove in one of his hands. Was he the one that dropped the glove outside? I mean, it's possible. And then to even add to the conspiracy and the crazy rabbit holes with this, one of the group was ironically involved in a domestic situation that resulted in the passing of his father. The kid said it was in self-defense, and I haven't heard how that case has been resolved yet. But how wild is that? What are the odds? I mean, some believe that they were coming from King Road or maybe going to King Road, don't know. Or maybe they were at Matt's party too, who knows? Now, going back to Saeed, the bushy eyebrows guy, while he's interacting with the police, he's got his phone out and he's watching something. It looks like video. And there's some screen grabs that people have shared that really do make you wonder if that's what he was looking at, because one of the people in the video that he's looking at looks kind of like Kaylee, maybe backed up to a wall. It's definitely very disturbing if it's true. Now, I've seen a lot of stuff from Huda London, Bubbly Waters. These guys have done really good work on that Banfield as well as the Grub Truck video stuff. So if you're interested, go check out their channels. Again, all of this is alleged. Now, it's the timing of that which has me wondering. I mean, let's say Xana and Ethan were beaten outside just after 2 a.m. and then it spills over into the house. Well, Kaylee and Maddie were supposed to be home at 1:56, so they were probably upstairs eating their food or whatever. They hear a bunch of commotion going on at 2:30, and they call Jack, because that's when the calls to Jack start. And they keep calling him over and over and over again until 2:53 or so, when the last call goes to him unanswered. And I believe that's when the attackers got upstairs. Remember, Steve G said they didn't have to go upstairs. So that's what makes me wonder if that's how this could have gone down. Maybe to take care of witnesses that they knew were in the house, or maybe to exact revenge on them for some other reason. I don't know. Now, I suspect that Dylan and Bethany were either not there or, so that's how they would have been passed over, as they weren't even there. And that, to me, makes a lot of sense. or they were there and somehow involved in this. But I don't know. Again, all that's alleged, but it certainly makes you wonder. All right. At exactly 3:12 a.m. on the Banfield body cam, you can see what appears to be the silhouette of 4 people running in the background. It's pretty clear. And they would have been running from King Road toward the Sigma Chi and Greek Row and all that. This makes sense to me. And it jives with this timeline that I'm proposing is how I think it all went down. To imagine that these college kids could have been watching the events unfold is definitely disturbing. And, was that the reason for all the Venmo activity that night? Lots of payments going back and forth. And remember that sorority sister, Molly Gray, sent a Venmo payment to Liz Katovich the day before the crimes happened. And in the memo, it said 3:30 a.m. What's that about? That's kind of ominous. Was that when she thought it would happen, or when it was supposed to be over, or betting on a time and some sort of betting thing? I don't know, but this is just weirder and weirder the more you look into it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of comments on this one, but it's what makes the community stronger. We don't have to agree on everything. So let me know what you think. Also, huge thanks to you guys who have been buying books lately. I appreciate that. PeteAltieri.com. I've got a whole bookstore on there. You can buy any of my books you want. I've got short stories. I've got novels. They're horror, suspense, that kind of stuff. Poe, Lovecraft, old Stephen King, Clive Barker, that sort of stuff. My latest collection of short stories, Creation of Chaos 4. It's a good one. That's on there. And all my books come signed and with a full color poster and a bookmark. So you don't get that on Amazon, but when you buy them directly from me, you do. Okay. Keep an eye out for the live this weekend. That's going to be Sunday at 4 p.m. Central. Me and my buddy A.R. Hayes from A Convict's Thoughts. It's going to be fun. And big thanks to all you guys who are in the Horns High Club. You guys are amazing. We're going to do a members only live right after that. And I'm hoping to have AR in there too. So that'll be cool. The one we did last weekend went really well. But I appreciate everybody that watches these videos, truly. And without you, there'd be no reason to do it at all. So don't forget to hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you're not already. And drop a comment below. And I'll see you next time.